Hello, I'm Fran, and I am one of the owners of Stamptastic, and I haven't done a live broadcast for a while on Facebook, so I'm a little bit nervous. I can't see if anyone's joined. If you've joined, please can you leave a comment just so that I can see who's joining. I might actually look on my phone as well, see if I can see anybody joining on my phone. Oh, there's someone there, Who's there? Who's there? Leave a comment. Oh, I can't see, oh, I can see myself there. So I can see 3 people are watching. Thank you. Hello, Andisha, how are you? Let me know if you want where your school is. Hi, Tina. Let me know where your school is and how many kids are at your school, because that sometimes helps. And what I'll do is I'm going to go through my top tips of how to make the most profit at a summer fair. So just as a bit of background, I'm Fran, and I'm one half of Stamptastic, and I used to be the chairperson of our school PTA for 2 years, and I was on the committee before that for a few years. And I was also, hello Samantha, and then I was also on the committee afterwards. And I also, when my kids were at 2 different schools, I was also on a committee at another school as well. So I've got experience of 2 different schools. And hello Sandrine, hello Wendy. Oh, I can see lots of people joining. It's so exciting because I wasn't sure, because I couldn't invite people in the group. The function to invite people had disappeared, so I couldn't invite people. Hello Louise. Okay, so I've got quite a lot of experience with running PTAs, and actually a lot of that experience I've transferred over to running this business, really. I did run our PTA a bit like a business when I was chairperson. I was very, very anal about pricing and budgets and costings, and I think you have to be. What's very, very hard is that you're working with volunteers who can go off on a tangent, do their own thing, and you can't sack a volunteer. You have to kind of direct people to where their strengths are. So let's see if anyone else has joined. Right, okay, so feel free to leave a comment in the comments box. And if I can't answer it now, I will answer it at the end of the broadcast, or probably later on tonight, because I've got to go and do the school run after this and make dinner and stuff like that. So I will answer the comments. I have put a poll, I don't know, I've never done it before, but I've put a poll on to let me know whether or not you're in the Stamptastic PTA reward scheme. And just to let you know, last year, Emma and I, in Stamptastic, we paid out £10,000 in commission to PTAs. And we gave out about the same amount of fundraising vouchers as well. So we're really, really happy about that. We're not a company that just wants to use PTAs. We love PTAs. We've worked really hard on our PTA. We know how hard it is to make money for your PTA. We feel your pain. So we hope our scheme works really, really well. Right, so let's start with some of these tips then. Now, just a little caveat. These worked at my school that I was at. It's an affluent school with 440 kids. It's a state school, but it is in an affluent area. And just because it works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. You might find some of these tips work for other events as well. So my first tip is, and this could be controversial, I'm going in with a controversial one, no outside stalls. Now, when I mean no outside stalls, I mean people coming in and selling jewellery and giving you 20 quid to have an outside stall, or people coming in and selling toys and paying you 25 quid to have a stall. Now, the reason why I stopped this was because, first of all, 25 quid is not very much money. And also the people that come up to your school, assuming you don't have the little card readers, we didn't have them when I was running the school fairs. Assuming you don't have a card reader, people are going to come up to school with a limited amount of cash. If they come up to school with 50 quid or 20 quid to spend, and then they buy a piece of jewellery for £5.99, that's less money to go to your school. So we stopped having outside stalls, especially if they're conflicted with things that we were selling or we were promoting. So we didn't have any outside food stalls. I'll move on to food in a minute because that's a big one, but no outside stalls at all. Also, you do have to get copies of their public liability insurance. I would say most of these small businesses probably don't. I might be doing them a disservice there. So it's just another thing to worry about if they don't have public liability insurance. Okay, feel free to ask me any questions. Oh, hello, Luciana. Okay, so that's the outside stalls. I know it's tricky if you're at a small school and you haven't got volunteers and you're worried it's going to look really, really bare, but that's one of the things I would say, try and not to have outside stalls, because basically they're going to take your money that you could be taking and you're going to get very little in return. Okay, this is a really, really important one. I'm just going to tick them off as I go. Another PTA was doing it at another school and I decided to copy. Basically, try and hold your fair over lunchtime if you can. I think our one used to be 2 o'clock till 4 o'clock or 1 o'clock till 4 o'clock. If you do it at 1 o'clock, you'll find, or 12:30, you'll find a lot of people have lunch and then come up to school. Okay, so you're missing a trick there. What I found was, and I copied another school, is that if your fair starts at 11:30, and I'll move on to what you can do at 11:30. If you have a fair starting at 11:30, then people are going to be there and they're going to want to be fed. Okay, so you need to get as many people up to school as possible for 11:30 or at least before 12, because if your fair starts at 1 o'clock, people will have lunch before they come up to school, or a lot of them will. So the more people you can get to school, the earlier, and to cross over lunchtime, the better. Okay, and one of the things about that is that the food stalls were always one of the biggest earning stalls at our summer fair. Okay, is this sounding good to everybody? Everyone's gone very quiet on comments. Let me know if I'm going too fast or if you have any comments about the points I'm making, and then I can try and answer them later. But let me know, guys, give me feedback, because I haven't done one of these broadcasts for ages, and I've never done a PTA tips broadcast either. Okay, so we've got no outside stalls. Try and run it over lunch if you can. Right, okay, so I said if you can make the fair start earlier, so it goes over lunchtime, that's better. Now, have something like the school choir performing at 11:30. That way, all the parents whose kids are in the school choir are going to want to come up and watch them perform. Okay, so you'll get loads and loads of people coming up to school for 11:30, and then they'll be there for lunch. Okay, so that is a really, really simple one. It ties in with having lunch, and starting the fair earlier, but have the choir perform at 11:30. Now also have demonstrations throughout the day. There'll be so many clubs at most schools, and there'll be outside clubs as well that your kids go to. So for example, if your school doesn't have a karate club, one of the kids at your school might go to a karate club. If you get the karate club to come in and perform, as long as there's kids at your school, people will want to stay and watch, and the clubs like performing it because it's advertising for them. But if you have the choir, you might have a dance club, you might have, God, somebody tell me some clubs, but do you know what I mean? There's so many clubs, and if you can get them performing throughout the day, that's brilliant, because the parents will want to stay and watch their kids. Okay, we had like a local Zumba teacher come in as well and do like a demonstration. So if you have a program of events throughout the day, there's a reason for people to stay. And really what I try to do is I try to do it so that people would come up at 11:30 and they would stay right until the very, very end, so that they would enjoy themselves. Oh, look, someone liked to comment. That's good. Yeah, do some emojis so that I know if you're actually still alive and I'm talking to you. So yeah, I try to keep people at school as long as possible. 11:30, come and watch their kids in the choir, go straight through lunch, eat lunch at school, and then spend money throughout the day at the fair and enjoy it as well. So have a program of demonstrations to go throughout the day. Okay. This one might be obvious, but keep costs down. So we're on number 4, keep costs down. So before I was a chairperson, so I was cooking earlier, I think I got a bit of food in my hair. Before I was chairperson, we had a lovely team of people, and some people would go and do the Costco shop to get all of the food and the booze and everything. But they didn't have a list, and if anybody here goes to Costco, you'll know it's like impossible to go and stick to your list. So what I did was every single stall, I gave them a budget. So for example, if we had a face painting stall, they would have a budget of 20 quid to go and source face paints. So they might have to go on the beg to ask parents in the school if they've got a set that hasn't been opened, because I think unless you've got a PTA set, you don't really want to be having old ones donated. But I mean, that's up to you. It doesn't really bother me, but it bothers some people. So each stall would have a budget, and it was very clear that they were not allowed to go over the budget, and most didn't go over the budget. So for the Costco shop, I actually did an Excel spreadsheet and said, this is exactly what you need to buy, and it's going to come to X amount of pounds. And I think that definitely saved us a lot of money. It depends how your school works, but if a class is running a stall or a volunteer is running a stall, they might go off and get really, really excited about buying loads of face paints or loads of nail varnish or just tat or toot that you don't actually need. So keep costs low. I think I half our expenses at the summer fair. Okay, let's have a look. Use the same fab tips. We hold the fair after school. Is not allowed to use the school. Yeah, that's tricky because it's really hard to set up a fair, isn't it, straight after school? And then, yeah, you can't, it's very difficult. The teachers won't come back at the weekends. Okay, so our head teacher made our teachers have a stall at the summer fair. I think the head teacher needs to know that you're raising money for her or his school. So, you know, you're giving up your free time. Maybe the teachers should as well. But again, that's really controversial. Samantha's saying we're looking at moving more to a festival feel, ending early evening. I like that. Early evening, people will want to drink as well. So if you're going from something like 4 till 7, you're covering dinner time as well, but people will want to drink more. So that's very, very good. Would you do things differently for this or just move timings? Yeah, Samantha, I just moved the timings to later. Make it very clear that you're having a bar. Festival feel is really, really good. Kate's currently at work, so can't really watch. She's a chair. She's hoping to catch the recording. Danielle says we have a choir. Maypole Club, absolutely fantastic. Spread it out. Talent show winners. Also 2 local. So Danielle, that's brilliant. 2 local dance martial arts clubs. Start with your school community first. You want as many of your kids at your school performing throughout the day. Spread them out. So you've got choir in the beginning, Maypole, or maybe have Maypole first, whatever. Do the one that most people has got the biggest amount of kids in, and also the one that's going to be the biggest draw that people are going to want to come and watch. So maybe if it's Maypole, I would put Maypole first. Excuse me. Hello, Wendy. Nathaniel's saying, I love the idea of a budget per stall. Yeah, you have to communicate that early on to your committee or whoever's running the stall. You kind of can't say it, but you can imply that if you go over it, you know, you've got to pay that yourself. When you're saying, love the store budget idea. Okay, so that's the store budget idea is a really, really good way of maximising your profits, because you can make loads and loads of money at your fair, but if people are just frittering money away, you'll find out afterwards people have put their invoices in, and it's so frustrating if you've worked so hard to raise this money. Okay. This one may or may not be controversial. I said earlier, no outside stalls. Now, some people will say, but how do we get volunteers to man, woman these stalls? Okay, so at our school, what we had, and it was a system that I inherited, was that we had a class representative system. So the class reps would meet with the head every half term. And the class reps were also a point of contact for the PTA. So I think it had already been in place. So what we had was each class was responsible for a stall at the summer fair. Now this works really, really, really well, especially lower down the school. Higher up the school, it's very, very difficult. Year 6, you might struggle, but also have a stall per class. Give the harder stalls to the more enthusiastic parents, so that you might be looking at reception year 1, year 2. That way, you can have sign-up sheets, but you can have online sign-up sheets now, can't you? And it's the class rep's responsibility to get those slots filled. Okay, now that is difficult if you don't have a class rep system, but there's probably a point of contact for each class. And if the PTA can get all of those class reps together and say, okay, this year, your stall is the cake stall, okay? So your stall, your class, you have to get all the cakes, you don't have to make them, you can buy them, you have to have a stall full of cakes, and you have to find people to man it throughout the day, and you need a spreadsheet with people signing up. We have a craft stall that runs the whole time. Yeah, you can have a craft stall. A craft stall is a great idea as well. So each class has a stall. And what we did as well is we tried to get extra stalls. So our governors had a stall one year. Our teachers have a stall every year. We had our year 6 had a stall every year as well. And I think we've just put a blog post on the website actually about a year. It's a PTA member wrote it for us, and it's about how to get kids involved in the fundraising at school. So you could apply some of those tips. I think one of them could be like a pre-loved school uniform sale. So they could be doing that stall, an easy one. It's good for them to get used to money and stuff. So try and get. Is this making sense about the classes? I don't know whether you guys do it or not, but to me, it's a really good way of having lots of stalls. Okay, if you're at a small school, it is difficult. Okay, I'm not going to lie, I'm not an expert at fundraising at small schools, but with a bigger school, each class has a stall. Okay, tick. Right. So we're on number 6 now. Okay, so you need to get as many stalls as possible that cost very, very little to run. Now, what I mean by that is don't go out buying loads of stuff, don't buy loads of prizes to run a stall. You don't need to do that. So, for example, some of our most profitable stalls were the toy stall. Now, some people back then were a bit, who's going to want to buy secondhand toys, and I'm not going to want to buy secondhand toys. But actually, it was a massive success. Our toy stall, I think, took about £1,500, right? And they were all donations. So that was a phenomenal amount. I wasn't sure if it would be successful. We didn't have to spend any money on that stall at all. Now it's obviously very environmentally friendly to have a stall like that. You're reusing, recycling. The difficult one about that stall is I would give it to a year 1 or a reception class, because when the donations come in, they need sorting and sometimes cleaning some of the toys. Some of them need binning, but that's a really, really good one, a toy stall. Second one is we asked for cuddly toy donations. We had probably about 20 bags of cuddly toys. Some kind person, so I'm frowning a lot, some kind person takes them home, washes them all, that's if it's their stall, filters them out again, and then we just bought the paper bags, filled them in the paper bags, and then I think we did £1 for pick a bag. So you had a stick with a hook on, you pick a bag, you're always going to win a prize, and I think in each bag was a cuddly toy and maybe a little lollipop or something. Again, that cost absolutely nothing. Wendy's dreaming of class reps. Maybe you need to speak to your head teacher and ask them about it, about having class reps. Okay, so free stalls, pick a bag. What was the other one I said? Pick a bag, the toy stall. The tombola, obviously, if you do a mufti day, you get people to bring in bottles, whether that's toiletries or wine or whatever. You obviously have to sort them through to see if they're past their sell-by date, but tombola is also a really, really, really good money-making one. Cake stall as well, that is a really low cost stall, because you ask the class that is responsible for it to bring in the cakes. And if you don't have class reps, then you just invite the whole school to bring in the cakes, or have a sign-up list of cakes. So again, that's a really, really low cost stall. Now, the other one that we had, which was brilliant, not my idea, somebody else's idea, was to have a salad bar. So we had a barbecue, and we had a salad bar. So my class, I think in that time was year 3 or 4, and we had a list of 30 salads. So each person would say what salad they were going to make. Now, obviously not everybody donated a salad, but some people donated 2. So we had these fantastic salads. And you know, with a salad that somebody else has made is always better than the one you've made yourself, right? And we had these bowls of salads come in, and they were fantastic. And I think we charged £1 for a scoop or £1 for 2 scoops. But again, because these were donated by parents, it was a completely cost-free stall. It complemented the barbecue, and people absolutely loved the salads. And at the end, I think we had some takeaway dishes as well. So people were buying to take home, and even our head teacher bought to take home for her husband. So that is a really good one as well. So try and keep your costs down by having your stalls not spending money. You don't always need to spend money. Some you will, but if you have those kind of five stalls, they're very good. Obviously, with the I'm saying obviously a lot. I'm trying to talk fast. With the salad bar, you will either have to, you probably have to say no nuts. And what we did was we asked everybody who donated the salad to have a list of ingredients. But honestly, it was really, really, really good. Some people find it easier doing that than making a cake. I'd say any food stalls is best to give to a class lower down the year, because they tend to be more enthusiastic about PTAs. Is this helpful for you guys? Please tell me. We do sign up sheets every year and you should get 2. Oh, Wendy, yeah, it is difficult, isn't it? It's really difficult. Well, I mean, obviously it's difficult. I can't help with how to get volunteers, but maybe these tips might help you cut some of your stalls, or think about the stalls that you're going to run. If you can only run a handful of stalls, make sure they're the ones that you're going to make most money from. Okay, I'll move on. Right. I've talked about class stall allocation. Sponsorship. Now, this is a really big one for us. So we really, I say we, it was me and a friend of mine, it was just mainly the 2 of us. We raised a lot of money in sponsorship. Now, not everybody likes doing this. It's really hard work. You have to be really persistent, quite bold. And yeah, it's not for everybody. However, we all know that running a summer fair is really, really, really hard work. And you obviously want everyone to have a nice day, but you also want to raise money. Now, sometimes the sponsorship is an easier way to raise money than all of the stalls put together. So what we did was we basically tried to sponsor everything. We had adverts in the program. We had our stalls sponsored. We had a raffle which was sponsored. We had a silent auction. I will move on to the silent auction in a minute, and the raffle. We had the silent auction that was sponsored. Basically, if you could sponsor it, we sponsored it. I did one year getting 2 years in a row. I got in dodgems, and man, that was the most stressful time of my entire life. But because it was such a big thing, it attracted sponsors. People like, oh, I'll sponsor a dodgem. So I had the dodgems cost about £2,500, but I got the whole of the cost of the dodgems sponsored by sponsors. It was hard work. But because we got the Dodgems in and they were sponsored, we got more people on the gate. Haven't spoken about the gate. I need to write about the gate. We had more people come, more people spend money, people have a more fun day. So, sponsorship. Who should you ask to sponsor your event? Estate agents always want to sponsor events. Don't go in with some really low figure, like 20 quid for a stall. You know, depending on the area you are, but I would say at least 50 to 100 quid. Some of our stalls were 200, 250. I think the Dodgems I was sponsoring for 250. Now we are in an affluent area, so we can get away with charging a bit more, but don't undersell yourselves. There are companies that want to access parents at your school, regardless of their income. You know, it's their local catchment area. There are people that will want, there are businesses that will want to advertise to those parents. So estate agents, taxi firms, pubs. So we had a parent at our school who owned a pub. He sponsored one of the stalls. Also, building companies. You know, they know people that want extensions. So those are really good people to go to. But make sure you're not underselling yourself when you do. Okay, right. No more comments. Anybody leave me comments? I can see you're there. Is this helping, or are you all thinking I'm absolutely mad lunatic? Okay. Right. So I've done sponsorship. Let's do. I'll move on to the gate. Okay. The gate can be a bit controversial. Right, I'm gonna have a cup of tea. Someone asked me a question. Oh, yummy. So the gate is always a really tricky one. Do you charge people to come to your fair? Why don't you let me know in the comments if you charge people to come to your fair? Okay, so we charge at the time £1. My old school now charges £2. What happened was everybody just kind of walked in for free, and if they were volunteer, they're like, oh, I'm a volunteer, I'm not paying. And say the fair started at 1 o'clock, you'd get volunteers coming up at 10 to 1. Yeah, so I stopped all of that, and it doesn't make you popular, but what I did was we had people helping to do the setup, and I think we did something like the setup was 8 in the morning till 11 o'clock. At 10:30, we locked the school gates, we shut the school gates, and we didn't let anybody else in, any volunteers in. Okay, so anyone that was volunteering between 8 and 11 was volunteering because they'd done a big shift. They were there, they didn't have to pay. Anybody that came after 11 o'clock had to pay, even if they were a teacher. And some teachers did not like that, but it was £1, okay? And I think we probably took on the gate, I know we probably took about £700 or £800. Kids were free, it was just adults we were charging. Yeah, people don't like it, but it's £1. Obviously, that's £1 is a lot of money for some people. I completely get that, but where we are in the area that we're in, £1 was not a big deal. You just had to be strict about people coming in and trying to come in for not paying anything and pretending they were volunteering. Okay, so again, you could make an extra 20, 30, 40, 50 quid, depending on how many people at your school. If you are stricter on the gate, you need a Rottweiler person on the gate. So school secretaries, see if they'll do the gate for you. You need someone who's going to be bold and who's going to make people pay or not let them come in. Okay, so that really worked for us. Okay, Natalie's saying it's definitely helpful. Rosemary's saying it's helpful. Oh, Samantha's saying, I'll go back to that. Samantha's saying, what would your sponsors expect in return for their sponsorship? Blah, blah, blah. So we would, we had boards we would put up for them. So I can't remember the sizing, but a lot of the companies would have their own banners. So they were allowed to bring their own banners. Depending on how much they sponsored, so you might put them in the program if you have a program. So for the Dodgem people who sponsored a Dodgem for 250 quid, I said that they would get they would get a slot in the programme. And I can't remember what else they got. They didn't actually get that much. Be careful. Don't be saying they can have a whole page in a programme, because the programme is expensive to print, right? So only give them quarter pages. Also what we did was, before the event, we would send out an email to the whole school saying what was going to be at the fair. So we would promote the sponsors then. They would be in the programme. They could have a banner if they wanted. And actually, we had Parker Cars, our local taxi firm, sponsor our Dodgems, and they had a massive banner that they brought, and we put that down. They were sponsoring the whole of the Dodgems. And also after the school fair, then you send an email out to the school community again, saying, these are the sponsors, thank you very much, please use them. Okay, excuse me. I hope that helps, Samantha. Basically, you have to become a salesperson. You are selling advertising space. Tina, £1 per adult, kids free. Luciana doesn't charge. Okay, so that might be something, depending on where you live, if that's something that you might want to look at changing. Kira, I hope that's how I pronounce your name. Very helpful. Wendy saying, we don't charge to come to the fair, but we have the raffle on the gate. Almost anyone buys the raffle tickets. Okay, Wendy, so we also sold raffle tickets on the gate. So they had to pay to come in, and then they were asked to buy raffle tickets as well. We'd also sent raffle tickets home before the fair, and that you need a special license for. But I think you don't need a special license if you're just selling tickets on the day. So yeah, the gate is a brilliant point to sell raffle tickets. And I am actually going to talk to you about raffle tickets in a minute. Catriona has said, we used to charge but stopped to allow more families to feel able to come along. And I get that, that's a fair point. And you are, whilst trying to raise funds as well, you want it to be accessible for all. And then you said, families spent more at our stalls and we actually raised more than before. So that's really interesting. I think it just depends where you are, what your area is. I know now that the schools that my kids used to be at, the primary schools, they now charge £2, so they have gone up. So Kira saying the same. We have extra raffle tickets on the gate. Natalie's saying we hold our straight after school finishes, so we can't really charge. Yeah, that's difficult, and it's very, very difficult having an event after school. I think you have to be slightly more inventive. However, you probably do have more people at your fair because they're there straight from school. Rosemary saying, I was thinking about an eco-friendly store with demonstrations and activities. What kind of companies would you recommend me to approach with sponsorship? Well, I think I've said it doesn't have to be, if you're doing an eco-friendly store, it doesn't have to be an eco-friendly company sponsoring that store. You can ask estate agents, you can ask, if you have a local club providing tennis lessons, you can ask them to sponsor a store. They don't have to have, their business doesn't have to be relevant to the particular store. You just say, would you like to sponsor a store? At the moment, we've got this store, this store, this store, £100, £50 or £250. Which one would you like? Which one would you like to sponsor? We'll have your board up. We had, when I was talking about the free stalls earlier, actually, we had a couple of years, we had a plant store. I think Homebase had donated a load of plants that were going, they weren't very happy. And we had a local gardener at the school, and he took them all home and nurtured them and then brought them all back. And I think we had a few other garden centres donate plants as well. And that was really, really popular. And I'm not a plant person. I kill all plants in my path. So I hadn't even thought about that, but that was a really, really good one as well. So you could ask a garden centre to sponsor a gardening stall. Let's move on. Okay. So the raffle. Okay. So not everybody, some people can get the knickers in a twist about the raffle, about getting prizes for the raffle. Now, I would say you don't need 20 prizes for your raffle. People don't necessarily want to stay till 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. to the end of the fair, although it is good actually to have your raffle at the end of the day. So if there are people that want to stay to see if they've won a prize, they'll stay longer in the day. But it just goes on and on and on and on if you have like 20 prizes. And people don't tend to buy the tickets for the prizes. They might for the first one or two, but below that, people aren't bothered necessarily about the prizes. So by all means, get the prizes and the donations, and I'll talk about what I think you should do with them, or what I did with them. It's not should, this is what I did, or we did. But yeah, so I would just have maybe 8 prizes in your raffle, if you have a raffle. Very hard to get a decent prize for the raffle, trying to get someone to donate a Nintendo or something like that. It's hard work. You might be really lucky and get someone in your parent community to buy it or donate it. So I think what we did in the end was we just put £100 prize, and we sold way more tickets, because actually most people are pretty interested in winning cash, aren't they? So that worked really well for us. We had a local bike store donate a brand new bicycle up to a value. I can't remember what the value was. It was an expensive kid's bicycle. But actually, some people, depending on where you are and how affluent the people are at your school, and people's mindsets as well, some people will buy the raffle tickets regardless of what the prizes are. Okay, so don't kill yourself to have more than 8 prizes. I hope this is making sense. So what I would do is I would still continue to try and get the raffle prizes. And most of you know, if you're in our Stamptastic group, if you're in a PTA, Stamptastic PTA affiliate, that we give fundraising vouchers to every PTA that signs up with us. Carry on getting those vouchers and prizes, but you can put them in a silent auction. So I don't know if any of you do a silent auction. Let me know if you do. Now it can all be done online. It's so much easier. Emma Stamptastic used to do our silent auction, and back in the day when she did it, it was a real headache because it was all done by email. Now you can set it on online. There's software for it. It's really, really easy, and you just put down your list of things you've got. So you might get a tennis lesson with a tennis coach, which would be 50 quid, or a personal trainer. Personal trainers, tennis coaches, Pilates teachers, Zumba teachers, hairdressers, beauty therapists, nail technicians, anybody who offers a service, I would approach them and ask them if they would donate a voucher, okay? And you could list all of those vouchers on your silent auction, and you will actually be getting money for them. I think we probably took about 1,000, I'd say about 2,000, one or two, definitely 2,000, I reckon. And again, it's all donated prizes. It is hard work. I remember my daughter, who's 14 now, I was in Sainsbury's with her, and she had a little plastic mobile phone. And we were just doing the shop, and we were walking around, and she literally picked up this phone, her toy phone, and she went, "Hi, it's Francesca here, Marshgate PTA. So have you got any prizes you could give us?" So I was obviously on my phone the whole time asking for donations, and it can be addictive because when you get something in, you want more. I know Bowden do free £50 vouchers if you email them. Wendy might know some more. Wendy's in the group. I know she's got a few tips. Obviously, our company, we give vouchers if you sign up to our scheme. I think Warburton's, this is separate, but Warburton's donate the rolls and stuff for your barbecue. I found, Facebook was quite new back then, but I found when I started using Facebook, messaging companies, local small businesses on Facebook with a really nice message saying, would you please, donate a voucher? And in return, you will be, the silent auction will get emailed to, the whole school, and you will get publicity from the whole school. So I hope that makes sense. So still get the vouchers if you can for the raffle, but don't stick them all in the raffle because it wastes time. You're still probably going to get the same amount of money with the raffle, whether you have 8 or 40 prizes. Put those prizes into a silent auction. okay? You need someone quite organised to do that, but silent auction is good. Right, 5 minutes left. So let me know if you want me to answer if you have any questions about any of those tips. I'll just summarise them again. One, and this is just me and just my school, they've probably changed it now, but this is how we raised £16,000 profit. And with a lot of blood, sweat and tears, by the way, mostly mine, tears. No outside stalls. 2, try and run it over a lunch or dinner. 3, have demos throughout the day and get people coming up early as possible to school. 4, keep the costs down, give people budget, don't let them go crazy with the money. 5, if you can, each class has a stall. 6, have as many free stalls as you can, in the sense that they're donations. So the toy stall, the tombola, the cake stall, the salad bar, the gardening stall. 7, sponsorship. Hard work, very salesy, but it's definitely worth it. 8, the raffle. You only need up to 8 prizes, I reckon. You don't need any more than that. And have 1-star prize, and don't bust a gut for it. If you can afford to put 50 quid cash in it, your PTA, I'd recommend doing that, or 100, whatever, depending on the size of the school and where you are. 9, silent auction, really, really good one to use up all of those extra prizes that you've got. And 10, the gate. You may want to consider charging for the gate and being strict on it. Okay, so Natalie said we had held a money raffle at Christmas and made a profit plus a few other items. A few other items that were donated by businesses. Parents seem to be more interested in the cash. Yes, I'd be more interested in the cash. I'd be delighted if I won the cash. I'd like to know what a money raffle actually is, though, so maybe let me know. Samantha said, we've done it and it raises a lot of money. What did you do? However, found it was the same people with the most money who won the auction prizes. We thought a raffle, might be maybe fairer, as everyone has a chance, albeit a greater chance the more you buy. Okay, this is really interesting, okay. So when we did our online auction, I had someone bid for a prize worth £100 and they bid £1, okay? And then someone else, they kept bidding and bidding and bidding, and someone else went and bid £100 because they said, it's worth £100, I'm going to bid that money for it, and the money's going to go to my school. Now, the person who bid less than that was not very happy and said, oh, it's not fair, for people who are working in, local authorities or, local government, or, don't have the same amount of spending power, so it's not fair, okay? And our view was very clearly the online silent auction is not a fair thing. It's out and out a money-making exercise. Everyone has the opportunity to bid, but it was a money-making exercise. And actually, I collected most of our prizes for the online auction. And if I saw something that I'd worked my butt off to get and it was worth 50 quid and the lowest bid was like 2 quid, I would go and bid like 10, 15 quid on it because I didn't want it going for so little money. So again, that's controversial. It was about raising money, the online auction. It wasn't about people getting things for free or very, very low cost. Wendy said, Warburtons have stopped donating bread. And Samantha said, head teacher for the day was the best money-making prize both times. Okay, so can you tell us a bit more about that, Samantha? How did you organise that? Perhaps you might want to write a blog post for us on that. We do pay for blog posts, by the way. We give £30 fundraising vouchers for people who want to write blog posts for us. So if you do want to write a blog post, just go down the posts and have a look and comment on one of them and say, I'd be happy to write a blog post on da-di-da-di-da. Because then we put them on our website and we share them with everybody in the group. And it's really, really helpful seeing what everybody else does, and even seeing how different PTAs organise the same event, but they organise it differently. It's really, really useful. We had never done the head teacher for the day. Our head teacher wasn't very keen on it. So Samantha, I'd love to hear more about how you did that and why it made the most money. Let's see, no more comments, no more comments. Okay, so I think it's 2:45. I said I'd finish at 2:45 just because I know that everyone's got to do the school run. Like I said, all my tips are me personally, as I was a chairperson. Not everybody's the same as me. I was quite anal and I did run it like a business. So raised a lot of money, but wasn't the most popular person the whole time. And also, it very much depends on your school. If you've got your head teacher on board, your teachers on board, how many volunteers you've got. But hopefully some of those tips you can apply to your summer fair or to other events that you're running. Just know that you are all doing a great job. Volunteering for the PTA can often be really thankless, and you just seem to get a lot of negativity a lot of the time. But just remember that what you're doing is a really, really good thing for your school, for your child, and for your local community. So a big pat on the back for you all. And I'd love to hear how your summer fair plans come along. And also let me know if you would like me to do another broadcast. I could try and make it a regular thing, you know, about bake sales, quiz nights, bingo nights. I'm a bit rusty because it was a while ago now, but I'm very, very happy to share my tips. So let's see if there's any more comments. Oh, we've got one more. Sandrina said we use PTA events for our silent auction. Yeah, good, that's good. And to get our volunteers, and also got photographer slots. Yes, we had a photographer, a local mum, Vicky Sharp. She charged, I think she charged £20 or £15 for a 10-15 minute slot. The money all went to the school, and then she made the money from the prints. And then what did you say? Made the silly mistake to stop at the end of the fairs. We could have run it for another few days. Yeah. Natalie said we had a money raffle. I'll have a look about the money raffle later because I'm interested in that. Samantha said I'll speak to the lady who ran it and get back to you. I think we raised 600 for the head teacher. Okay, I'd really like to hear about that, Samantha. If you could write a blog post for us on that, that'd be great. Yes to more broadcasts. Okay, I hope you think I've done okay. I know I've talked really fast, and I do talk to the camera a lot on Instagram stories, if any of you are any on Instagram. I haven't done a broadcast on Facebook for a long time. Rose, thank you. Yes, well, broadcast, thank you. Thank you, guys. Yeah, well done for being a PTA volunteer. And if there's any questions, pop them on. And I know some people are going to go back and probably watch this if we weren't able to join us today. So thank you very much. Bye.